Good morning, children. Today, in social science, in economics, in class 9, we'll talk of two more programs which are anti poverty programs. Now, the first that we'll take up today is Antyodaya Yojana, or what is also called as AAY. Now, this was a program that was launched in 2000 for rural households. That means for people living in the rural areas, and the purpose was to ensure food security. That meant that at least minimum amount of food that they could purchase and provide to the family. So it was meant for the poorest of the poor. And how was this there? By providing food grains at highly subsidized prices. That means at low prices which they could purchase at. So this was one program meant for people in the rural households. Then we have another important program which is called as a Manrega, which in other words is the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, Manrega. Now this was a program that was launched in 2005. Again, it was meant, the objective was to help the people, the rural households, one can say. And according to this program, there was a guarantee of 100 days of wage employment to a rural household in a year. That meant that in the rural areas, in a household, in a family, for 100 days, one person, one adult member would volunteer to do this unskilled work or manual work, one can say. So this was at least to ensure that they would get work at least for those number of days, so that they could provide whatever the food and other essential commodities for the family. So this program benefited many people belonging to the SC category, to the SC, ST and women also. So it was very helpful to these poor people. Now we take up the anti-poverty measures in India. Definitely, the removal of poverty has been one of the major objectives of Indian developmental strategy that we've tried from a long time, from many years, of how there can be economic prosperity, economic growth, and at the same time help the people who are facing all these issues. And this is based on two objectives. That is, the Indian developmental strategy is based on two objectives. This is promotion of economic growth. The government has promoted economic growth. In the last few years, if we see, there has been a lot of improvement, and in the economy has grown, it has prospered also. But till about 1980s, it was there, but it was slow. So with this economic growth that took place, there was definitely reduction in the poverty among the people. Now we see that we need to also understand that there is a strong link between economic growth and poverty. That is, when there is economic growth, it widens opportunities. There will be more chances, more opportunities, and it provides resources which are needed to invest in human development. That is, so it encourages people to invest in the education. As we know that human capital formation is important, and for that investment in education, health is also necessary. So it encourages people to invest in education of children. Earlier people did not realize how important education was, but now there has been a change in the thinking of people. And now they have started investing in the education of children with the hope that there will be better economic returns in the future. Because if there is education, definitely you are qualified, you are trained, you are skilled, there are more chances of your employment opportunities, and you are able to earn well. In rural areas, we see that large number of people remain poor. The reason is that they are gripped in or trapped in a vicious circle of poverty. Children, for instance, we say that people children who are born in poor families, they continue to remain poor. There is no change or improvement in their condition. So from one generation to the other, the same problems and issues remain. So they continue to live in a state of poverty. So it is very difficult to come out of this trap of this vicious circle of poverty, as we term it. Now, there are certain challenges to poverty reduction. Poverty reduction is still a major challenge in our country. Although so many programs have been launched, so many measures have been adopted, and some reasons are that one is this is due to wide differences between the regions. In some states, like we say UP, Bihar, and all, where there is more poverty, then as also rural and urban areas also differ. So because of that, it is difficult sometimes, and the programs and all may not be implemented as effectively as they could have. There is definitely poverty has to be removed, but besides, it is not the basic requirement of a person or an individual. That is a food, clothing, and shelter, what we call as our basic necessities. But along with that, there are other factors also. There are other requirements also. For instance, like education. Education is so very important. Then healthcare facilities are also important when people fall sick. So they should have the facility for treatment, and they should be able to afford it as well. So job security should be there. Now that is very important, because when we are employed, then only can we earn, and then only then one will feel secure, and all the not only the basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter will be provided, but health will be looked after, education will be looked after. So it is important also for that. And besides that, gender equality, that means everybody should be treated the same, and equal opportunities, and that is being given also, and the dignity of the people. All these are necessary. So we simply cannot say that food, clothing, and shelter are the basic necessities and that is enough. That is not really enough, because we need education for all, we need healthcare facilities for all, there has to be employment opportunities for the people, and the dignity which can be maintained and how they can lead their lives in a better way, in an improved manner. So in addition to poverty alleviation measures and economic growth, there are other things also, certain other measures also can be adopted. One is universal free elementary education. We have the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, which is enabling children to receive education so that they don't remain illiterate. So that this is for particularly, then midday meals are also given to them, particularly to the poor families, so that encourages them. It is an incentive to send the children to schools. Then another very important requirement is the decrease in the birth rate in our country, or the decrease in the growth of population. It has come down in the last few years, but it still remains high. So this has to be brought down. That then probably we can improve conditions for all the people, and the empowerment of women and the weaker sections, so that they also are improved. It is definitely in the urban areas, a lot of women are working and they are employed, but it is in the rural areas where women still continue to be dominated. So it is important for us to understand that why poverty is such a challenge in our country. So many measures have been adopted, so many steps have been adopted, so many programs have been implemented, and hopefully it will help the poor people to lead a better standard of life and to lead a better life. Thank you.